Greetings and welcome. We are in Senior English A, and our discussion now this morning is to continue and finish Hamlet Act 2. We will begin with now an exchange. For your notes, I'd write it down this way. Hamlet will engage in 3 exchanges now as we see him for the first time in Sane. Exchange number 1 happens with Polonius. Exchange number 2 happens with Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. I'll often refer to it as simply R and G. Exchange number 3 will be with the actors who Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, we are told, met on the way and then brought with them. Then the act will finish with that "Now I am alone" soliloquy, where Hamlet will do 2 things. Again, for your notes. Notice I'm framing this for you so that when it happens, it's fairly predictable. Hamlet does 2 things in the "Now I am alone" soliloquy. 1, he pretty much beats himself up for being impotent, incapable of actions that he knows he must commit, namely, killing his uncle. Why is it that he has not yet killed his uncle? Well, he says it's because he's a coward. But then, number 2 in this soliloquy, Hamlet invents a plan to make sure that his uncle is in fact guilty. The play's the thing, wherein I'll catch the conscience of the king. We will begin now. First exchange, Hamlet and old fart Polonius. "Do you know me, my lord?" "Excellent. Well, you are a fishmonger." Not me, my lord." "Then I wish you were so honest a man." Ouch.
"How does my good lord Hamlet?"
"Well, God of mercy."
"Do you know me, my lord?"
"Excellent, excellent. Well, you're a fishmonger."
"Not I, my lord."
"Then I would you were so honest a man."
"Honest, my lord?"
"Aye, sir, to be honest, as this world goes, is to be one man picked out of 10,000.
"Ah, that's very true, my lord."
For if the sun breed maggots in a dead dog, being a good kissing carrion, have you a daughter?"
"I have, my lord."
"Let her not walk in the sun. Conception is a blessing, but not as your daughter may conceive. Friend, look to it."
"How say you by that?" Still harping on my daughter. Yet he knew me not at first. He said I was a fishmonger. He is far gone, far gone. And truly in my youth I suffered much extremity for love, very near this. I'll speak to him again. "What do you read, my lord?"
Words, words, words.
"What is the matter, my lord?"
Between who?
"No, I mean the matter that you read, my lord."
"Ah, slanders, sir. For the satirical slave says here that old men have grey beards, that their faces are wrinkled, their eyes purging thick amber or plum tree gum, and that they have a plentiful lack of wit together with weak hams. All which, sir, though I most powerfully and potently believe, yet I hold it not honesty to have it thus set down. For yourself, sir, should be as old as I am, if like a crab you could go backward."
Though this be madness, yet there is method in it. "Will you walk out of the air, my lord?"
"Into my grave?"
"Indeed, that is out of the air." "How pregnant sometimes his replies are. Happiness that often madness hits on, which reason and sanity could not so prosperously be delivered of. I will leave him and suddenly contrive the means of meeting between him and my daughter. My honourable lord, I will most humbly take my leave of you."
"You cannot, sir, take from me anything that I will more willingly part with all, except my life. Except my life."
"Oh, fare you well, my lord."
"These tedious old fools."
"You go to seek my lord, Hamlet. There he is."
"God save you, sir." My most dear lord. "My excellent good friends. How dost thou, Guildenstern? How Rosencrantz? Good lads, how do ye both? As the indifferent children of the earth?
Happy, in that we are not over happy. On fortune's cap we are not the very button.
Nor the soles of her shoe?
Neither, my lord.
And you live about her waist, or in the middle of her favours?
Faith, her privates we.
In the secret parts of fortune. Oh, most true, she is a strumpet. What's the news?
Not, my lord, but that the world's grown honest.
Then is doomsday near. But your news is not true. Let me question more in particular. What have you, my good friends, deserved at the hands of fortune that she sends you to prison hither?
Prison, my lord?
Denmark's a prison.
Then is the world one.
A goodly one, in which there are many confines, wards, and dungeons, Denmark being one of the worst.
We think not so, my lord.
Why then 'tis known to you, for there's nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. To me, it is a prison.
Why, then your ambition makes it one. 'Tis too narrow for your mind.
Oh, God, I could be bounded in a nutshell and count myself a king of infinite space, were it not that I have bad dreams.
Which dreams indeed are ambition, for the very substance of the ambitious is merely the shadow of a dream.
A dream itself is but a shadow.
Truly, and I hold ambition of so airy and light a quality that it is but a shadow's shadow.
Then are our beggars bodies, and our monarchs and outstretched heroes the beggars' shadows. Shall we to the court for that, I say? I cannot reason.
We'll wait upon you.
No such matter. I will not sort you with the rest of my servants. For to speak to you like an honest man, I am most dreadfully attended. But in the beaten way of friendship, what make you at Elsinore?
To visit you, my lord, no other occasion.
Beggar that I am even poor in thanks. But I thank you. And sure, dear friends, my thanks are too dear a halfpenny. Were you not sent for? Is it your own inclining? Is it a free visitation? Come, deal justly with me. Come, they speak.
What should we say, my lord?
By anything but to the purpose. You were sent for. And there is a kind of confession in your looks which your modesties have not craft enough to colour. I know the good king and queen have sent for you.
To what end, my lord?
That you must teach me. But let me come to you. By the rights of our fellowship, by the consonancy of our youth, by the obligation of our ever-preserved love, and by what more dear a better proposer could charge you withal, be even and direct with me, whether you were sent for or no.
What say you?
Nay, then I have an eye of you. If you love me, hold not off.
My lord, we were sent for.
I'll tell you why. So shall my anticipation prevent your discovery, and your secrecy to the king and queen mold no feather. I have of late, but wherefore I know not, lost all my mirth, forgone all custom of exercise. And indeed, it goes so heavily with my disposition, that this goodly frame, the earth, seems to me a sterile promontory. This most excellent canopy, the air, look you, this brave, o'erhanging firmament, this majestical roof, fretted with golden fire, why, it appears no other thing to me than a foul and pestilent congregation of vapours. What a piece of work is man! How noble in reason, how infinite in faculty, in form and moving, how express and admirable, in action, how like an angel, in apprehension, how like a god. The beauty of the world, the paragon of animals, and yet to me, what is this quintessence of dust? Man delights not me. No, no woman neither, though by your smiling you seem to say so.
My lord, there was no such stuff in my thought.
Why did you laugh then when I said man delights not me?
To think, my lord, if you delight not in man, what Lenten entertainment the players shall receive from you. We floated them on the way, and hither are they coming to offer you service.
He that plays the king shall be welcome. His majesty shall have tribute of me. The adventurous knight shall use his foil and target. The lover shall not sigh greatest. The humorous man shall end his part in peace. The clown shall make those laugh whose lungs are tickled with a seer. And the lady shall say her mind freely, or the blank verse shall halt for it. What players are they?
Even those you were wont to take delight in, the tragedians of the city.
That sounds as if they travel. Their residence, both in reputation and profit, was better both ways.
I think their inhibition comes by the means of the late innovation.
Do they hold the same estimation they did when I was in the city? Are they so followed?
No, indeed, they are not.
How comes it? Do they grow rusty?
Nay, their endeavour keeps in the wonted pace, but there is an airy of children, little eye-asses that cry out on the top of question and are most tyrannically clapped for it. These are our fashion, and so berattle the common stages, so they call them, that many wearing rapiers are afraid of goose quills and dare scarce come thither.
Well, are they children? Who maintains them? How are they escorted? Will they pursue the quality no longer than they can sing?
I'll explain this
Will
to
they
you
not say
guys. Just
afterwards,
follow
if they
it.
should grow themselves to common players, as it's most like if their means are no better, their writers do them wrong, to make them exclaim against their own succession?
Faith, there's been much to do on both sides, and the nation holds it no sin to tar them to controversy. There was for a while no money bid for argument unless the poet and the player went to cups in the question.
It's possible.
Oh, there has been much throwing about of brains.
Do the boys carry it away?
Aye, that they do, my lord. Hercules and his load too.
It is not strange. For mine uncle is king of Denmark, and those that would make mouths at him while my father lived give 20, 40, 100 ducats apiece for his picture in little. Blood, there's something in this more than natural.
People are fickle, in other words, is what he's saying.
Gentlemen, you are welcome to Elsinore. Your hands, come. The impertinence of welcome is fashion and ceremony. Let me comply with you in the garb, lest my extent to the players, which I tell you must show fairly outwards, should more appear like entertainment than yours. You are welcome. But my uncle, father, and aunt mother are deceived.
Yeah, watch my dear lord.
I am but mad north-northwest. When the wind is southerly, I know a hawk from a handsaw.
He comes right out and tells them he's faking it.
Guildenstern, and you too, and each year a hero. That great baby you see there is not yet out of his swaddling clothes.
Happily is the second time come to them, for they say an old man is twice a child.
Milord, I will prophesy he comes to tell the players market. You say right, sir, on Monday morning, for so indeed.
My lord, I have news to tell you.
Lord, I have news to tell you. When Rosencrantz was an actor in Rome,
The actors are come hither, my lord.
but
Upon my honour.
then came each actor on his ass.
The best actors in the world, either for tragedy, comedy, history, pastoral, comical, historical, pastoral, tragical, historical, comical, historical, pastoral, scene individable or poem unlimited. Seneca cannot be too heavy nor Plautus too light. For the law of writ and the liberty, these are the only men.
Oh, Jephthah, judge of Israel, what a treasure hast thou?
What a treasure had he.
My one fair daughter, and no more, the which he loved passing well.
Still on my daughter.
Am I not in the right, oh Jephthah?
You called me Jephthah, Lord. I have a daughter that I love passing well.
Say that follows now.
What follows then, Lord?
Why, as by lot God won. And then, you know, it came to pass as most like it was. The first row of the pious chanson I'll show you more of. Well, look why my abridgments come.
This is a very interesting side note. Read your sidebar real quickly to figure out what is a Jephthah. Read it real quick. See what they tell you. Timothy. Yeah, sure. You're talking about second hour then? You just need. Okay, just down in your office. Oh, sure. There's a reference that's made here. It's a pretty obscure reference. For those of you who went to Sunday school, this is probably not a story that you were told much about. In the Old Testament, the book of Judges, I believe it's chapter 11, there's a story about a cat named Jephthah, who was a great and mighty warrior. He's losing the fight. He prays to God and says, if you let me win, the very first thing I come home to, I will sacrifice for you. He owned lots of cattle. And so he figured the first bull he saw was he came around the corner to his ranch. He'd sacrifice that one as a gift to to God for winning. Well, he won the battle. And word gets home to his wife that he won the battle. And she, of course, was very happy. Jephthah had a beautiful young daughter. She runs out to meet him to celebrate his success. She comes around the corner. The first thing Jephthah sees is his daughter. Now he's got a serious problem because he made a promise swear that he would actually sacrifice whatever it is that he saw first. So Jephthah has to kill his own daughter. Like I said, that's not a story usually that's taught in Sunday school from the Bible. But here in Shakespeare's day, this is a story that's better known because everybody read the Bible. What does it mean when Hamlet calls old man Polonius Jephthah? See? Notice? Now you know the story. You're like, I get it, right? Notice earlier he even said that he would loose his daughter Ophelia on Hamlet. You know what I mean? So it's already in play. Polonius treats his daughter as a plaything, what he can do with her, what he wants to. He tells her not to talk to Hamlet. She obeys, etc., etc. Hamlet obviously is still a little bit torqued about the fact that Ophelia obeyed her dad and did not talk at all to Hamlet. All right, here we go. Again, I told you this yesterday. The lead actor is requested to give a set of lines. he will give the set of lines from the Aeneid, famous set of lines, where Aeneas tells Dido, his soon-to-be lover, tells Dido about what it was like in the heart of Troy as the city was falling, and more particularly, this passage is for your notes, what we call the death of Priam, king of Troy, the city of Troy, King Priam. Who will kill him? The great Greek warrior Pyrrhus is his name, Pyrrhus. Remember, he's got those red eyes, right? Who will hunt him down and kill him. Obviously, Hamlet's got a reason for requesting these lines.
You are welcome, masters. Welcome all. I'm glad to see thee well. Welcome, good friends. Ah, my old friend, thy face is balanced since I saw thee last. Comes thou to beard me in Denmark? What, by young lady and mistress? By lady, your ladyship is nearer to heaven than when I saw you last by the altitude of a chopping. Break up your voice like a piece of uncurrent gold, be not cracked within the ring. Masters, you're welcome. We'll into it, like French falconers. Fly at anything we see. We'll have a speech straight. Come, give us a taste of your quality. Come, a passionate speech.
What speech, my lord?
I heard thee speak me a speech once, but 'twas never acted. Or if it was, not about once, for the players I remembered, please not the million, 'twas caveat of the general. But it was as I received it, and others whose judgments in such matters cried in the top of mine. An excellent play, well digested in the scenes, set down with as much modesty as cunning. I remember one said there were no salads in the lines to make the matter savoury, nor no matter in the phrase that might indict the author of affection, but called it an honest method, as wholesome as sweet, and by very much more handsome than fine. One chief speech in it I chiefly loved. 'Twas Aeneas' tale to Dido, and thereabout of it especially where he speaks of Priam's slaughter. If it live in your memory, begin at this line. Let me see. The rugged Pyrrhus, like the Acanian beast, it is not so, it begins with Pyrrhus. The rugged Pyrrhus, he whose sable arms, black as his purpose, did the night resemble, when he lay couched in the ominous horse, hath now this dread and black complexion smeared with heraldry more dismal. Head to foot now is he total gules, horridly tricked with blood of fathers, mothers, daughters, sons, baked and impasted with the parching streets, that lend a tyrannous and damned life to their vile murders, roasted in wrath and fire, and this o'ersized with coagulate gore, with eyes like carbuncles, the hellish Pyrrhus, old grandsire Priam seeks.
Oh, God, my lord, well spoken, with good accent, and good discretion.
Polonius is such a
Anon
flatterer.
he finds him,
Now the real actor.
Sergeant Greeks. His antique sword, rebellious to his arm, lies where it falls, repugnant to command. Unequal matched, Pyrrhus at Priam drives, in rage strikes wide, but with the whip and wind of his fell sword, the unnerved father falls. Then senseless Ilium, seeming to feel his blow, with flaming top stoops to his base, and with a hideous crash takes prisoner Pyrrhus here. For lo, his sword, which was declining on the milky head of reverend Priam, seemed in the air to stick. So as a painted tyrant Pyrrhus stood, and like a neutral to his will and matter, did nothing. But, as we often see against some storm, a silence in the heavens, the rack stands still, the bold winds speechless, and the orb below as hushed as death, and on the dreadful thunder doth rend the region, so after Pyrrhus' pause, aroused vengeance sets him new work, and never did the Cyclops' hammers fall on Mars his armor, forged for proof etern, with less remorse than Pyrrhus' bleeding sword now falls on Priam. Out, out, thou strumpet fortune! All you gods, in general synod take away her power, break all the spokes and ferries from her wheel, and bowl the round nave down the hill of heaven, as low as to the fiend.
This is too long.
Jump the barbers with your beard. Prithee say
Melodious.
He's for a
Doesn't
jingle
like
tale
it.
of baldry, or he sleeps.
Say on, come to Hecuba.
But who? Oh, who had seen the Mowbray Queen?
The Mowbray Queen.
Oh, that's good. Mowbray Queen is good.
Run barefoot up and down, threatening the flame with bison rheum. A clout about that head where late the diadem stood, and for a robe about her lank and all o'er teamed loins, a blanket in the alarum of fear caught up. Who this had seen, with tongue in venom steeped, 'gainst fortune's state would treason have pronounced. But if the gods themselves did see her then, when she saw Pyrrhus make malicious sport in mincing with his sword her husband's limbs, the instant burst of clamour that she made, unless things mortal move them not at all, would have made milch the burning eyes of heaven, and passion in the god.
Look where he has not turned his colour and his tears in his eyes. Pray you no more.
'Tis well. I'll have thee speak out the rest soon.
Good my lord, will you see the players well bestowed? Do you hear? Let them be well used, for they are the abstracts and brief chronicles of the time. After your death, you had better have a bad epitaph than their ill report while you live.
My lord, I will use them according to their desert.
God's body kins man better. Use every man after his desert, and who should escape whipping? Use them after your own honour and dignity. The less they deserve, the more merit is in your bounty. Take them in.
Come, sirs.
Follow him, friends. We'll hear a play tomorrow.
Dost thou hear me?
Old friend.
Can you play The Murder of Gonzago? We'll have it tomorrow night. You could, for a need, study a speech of some 12 or 16 lines, which I would set down and insert in, could you not?
Aye, my lord.
Very well.
Follow that lord, and look you mock him not. My good friends, I'll leave you till night. You are welcome to Elsinore.
Good, my lord.
Aye so. God be with ye.
Now I am alone.
Now I am alone.
Watch how he gets worked up here.
Oh, what a rogue and peasant slave am I. Is it not monstrous that this player here, but in a fiction, in a dream of passion, could force his soul so to his own conceit, that from her working all his visage wand, tears in his eyes, distraction in his aspect, a broken voice, and his whole function suiting with forms to his conceit? And all for nothing? For Hecuba? What's Hecuba to him, or he to Hecuba, that he should weep for her? What would he do had he the motive and the cue for passion that I have? He would drown the stage with tears, and cleave the general ear with horrid speech, make mad the guilty, and appall the free, confound the ignorant, and amaze indeed the very faculty of eyes and ears. Yet I, a dull and muddy metalled rascal, peak like John o' Dreams, unpregnant of my cause, and can say nothing. No, not for a king, upon whose property and most dear life a damned defeat was made. Am I a coward? Who calls me villain, breaks my plate across, plucks off my beard and blows it in my face, treats me by the nose, gives me the lie in the throat as deepest to the lungs? Who does me this, huh? Why, I should take it, for it cannot be but I am pigeon-livered and lack gall to make oppression bitter. For ere this I should have fatted all the region kites with this slave's offal. Bloody bawny villain! Remorseless, treacherous, lecherous, kindless villain! Oh, vengeance! What of an ass am I? Aye, sure, this is most brave. That I, the son of a dear father, murdered, prompted to my revenge by heaven and hell, must like a whore unpack my heart with words and fall a-cursing like a very drab a scullion. fire pumped.
About my brain. I have heard that guilty creatures sitting at a play have by the very cunning of the scene been struck so to the soul that presently they have proclaimed their malefactions. For murder, though it have no tongue, will speak with most miraculous organ. I'll have these players play something like the murder of my father before mine uncle. I'll observe his looks. I'll tempt him to the quick. If he but blench, I know my course. The spirit that I have seen may be the devil, and the devil hath power to assume a pleasing shape. Yea, and perhaps out of my weakness and my melancholy, as he is very potent with such spirits, abuses me to damn me.
I'll have grounds more relative than this. The play's the thing, wherein I'll catch the conscience of the king.
All right, so we finished now Act 2, and we are ready to move on to Act 3. Let's go there now. Go ahead and start your notes for Act 3, although that's not part of specifically the annotative work of the Packet 14 of next Monday. Let's go ahead and begin. And now we come to Act 3 of Hamlet. What many consider to be the single greatest act Shakespeare ever wrote. Much of the reason for that is the famous soliloquy that we will see some 50 lines into the scene of Act 5, Scene 1, where the famous to be or not to be soliloquy. But before we get to that really famous soliloquy, I want to point out a couple of things right away. We will open 3-1 with more spying, okay? And you will see that this is one of the kind of common themes of this play. Everybody's trying to spy on somebody, get some intel, get some information, whatever. Notice that the king and queen are talking to Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, and the king will ask him, but can you, by no drift of confidence, get from him why he puts on this confusion? Notice daddy, stepdaddy, still doesn't want to say in front of mom that Hamlet is nuts. So he keeps using all this other soft language because he doesn't want to come right out and say the boy's lost his ever-loving mind, right? Okay, Mama's, of course, very defensive about her son, etc., etc. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern will say it out loud. Dude, we can't figure out what's wrong with him. He seems to kind of have lost it, but then he says things that kind of seem to suggest that he's okay. He's got a what Polonius said, method in his madness. There did seem in him a kind of joy. Rosencrantz will say at roughly line 17 or so. Shakespeare loves to play this game of dropping that word seem throughout this. And remember, his mama said to him, "Why do you seem so upset?" What? I'm not seeming. I'm real. Rosencrantz said he seems kind of happy when the actors, we mention the actors, and then Guildenstern says, yeah, he wanted us to invite you to a performance of a play that they are going to put on later this afternoon. Claudius is very happy about this. Yay! Hamlet's coming out of his melancholy, and he's now going to enjoy a play, if you will. I'm sorry, who? To whose room? You got it. Mr. Lang, I guess they're looking for you in Miss Anderson's room for a second. If you need to go. Now to the next step. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern will leave. You have standing on stage the king, the queen, Ophelia, Polonius. The plan here is simple. They're going to put Hamlet and Ophelia together. Now the plan here is predicated on the idea that the reason Hamlet has lost his mind is because he's in love with Ophelia and he hasn't been able to see Ophelia. She's not returning his texts. So this will be the first time, theoretically, that Hamlet has been with Ophelia when Ophelia is going to show him attention. And the idea, of course, will be that Hamlet will immediately fall down on his knees, beg for Ophelia to come back, his insanity will leave him, and they'll all live happily ever after. the queen will say that the king says, hey, Gertrude, you need to leave. And then she will turn, interestingly, at line 36 or so, do you see it? She will actually turn to Ophelia, and look at what she says. She says, and for your part, Ophelia, I do wish that your good beauties be the happy cause of Hamlet's, she won't call it insanity, Hamlet's wildness. Interesting. Laertes said, Mama, mother of Hamlet, will never approve of you and Hamlet being a thing. Notice what she says here. I'm totally cool with the beautiful Ophelia and my son being an item. I hope this is the reason why he's gone nuts. Notice, so shall I hope your virtues will bring him to his wanted way again to both your honors. In other words, we can dodge a major bullet here if Hamlet's really just crazy because he hasn't been able to receive any of your texts. Ophelia says, I agree with you, madam, I wish it may. In other words, Ophelia is ready to play in this game as well. Then Polonius steps up. He's got a book in his hand. Look at what he says. Ophelia, walk you here. Now the idea is she's going to be walking all alone. The king and Polonius are going to hide behind a curtain and they're going to watch. And the problem is that this can look too easily like a setup. So Polonius is going to hand her a book and look at what he says. Ophelia, walk you here. Gracious, so please you, we will bestow ourselves. In other words, he says to the king, let's go hide. Then he says to Ophelia, his daughter, look at this. Read on this book. So he hands her a book. Pretend like you're what? Pretend like you're reading while you're walking. Read on this book. That show of such an exercise may color your loneliness. Put it in your own words. What's it mean? Right, we're going to fool Hamlet. I mean, if you're just standing out here in the middle of nowhere, he's going to know something's up. But if you're reading a book while you're walking, Hamlet won't know that he's being set up and he's going to be spied on. So read on the book. That show of color that show of exercise may color your loneliness. And then look what he says. I told you. Some of the best lines in Shakespeare's plays are given to his children, his fools, and his idiots. Polonius is the fool of our play. But look at what he's about to say. This is fascinating. He says, we are oft to blame in this. 'Tis too much proved that with devotion's visage and pious action, we do sugar o'er the devil himself. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Now this is the reason we read this play and we don't just watch this play. Because that's a set of lines that if you're just watching, when it's performed on stage, you hear it and you just kind of go, oh, whatever. But if you sit and start to unpack what he has just said, it's fascinating. Hey, daughter, read this book. We're going to fool Hamlet. He won't know what's going on because obviously you'll be looking at a book. We are oft to blame in this, 'tis too much proved, the old fart says. That with, look at it again, devotion's visage. What does it mean to be devoted? Dedicated. You very dedicated. If I'm in my truck and the sun's in my eyes and I drop my visor down, what am I doing? I'm blocking my face, right? A visage is a face. That's where the word comes from. Ophart Polonius says, if you want to fool the devil, all you need are two things. Boy, oh boy, does this sound a little bit like Macbeth. There's no art to find the mind's construction in the face. Remember that line Duncan speaks in the first act of Macbeth? You need two things. One, you need a face that looks devoted. In other words, oh, I really care for you. Look at the next one. Pious action. Do you remember the lines? My heart leaps up when I behold a rainbow in the sky. Remember those lines? So was it when my life began? So is it now I am a man? So be it when I shall grow old or let me die. Remember that little poem by Wordsworth finished? The child is father of the man, and I could wish my days to be bound each to each by natural, remember the word? Piety. Piety. It's the same word, pious here. In other words, if you want to fool the devil, and obviously if you can fool the devil, you can fool anybody. You only need two things. You need a face that looks like you're really loving and concerned. And then you need actions that seem like you're a really good person. Right? How many students in their freshman year of college will report the morning after, but he seemed really nice. And he looked like, and he was hot too. And he told me this is what I was supposed to do. And everyone else was doing it too. So I just kind of, Polonius says, you want to fool people, all you need are two things. A face that makes you look honest and actions that make you look nice.